everyone, and welcome to another episode of City Skylines. And today, I'd like to discuss something. I'm having problems with sound for quite a long time now, and I recorded this episode that you're watching right now, which I was referencing this building that it is a modern one, but it fits so well that I'm gonna leave it there. But I don't know what's happening. It's like my microphone um, mutes me at the end of some time. It somehow believes that I'm background noise and removes my voice, and so I basically had a file recorded because I always record my voice separately so I can edit it, and it was basically nothing. It had nothing, so I couldn't use that because it would be a video without sound. And yeah, so I'll have to dub this episode, or I would have to just skip this episode and do another one and inexplicably have new progress like we have here, which is our new area. Finally, I've developed it in between the episodes because it was quite hard to work with those assets and all of the terraforming that went to it. But yeah, it's Pena, and it has a tram station, and it's gonna be our new area, our new residential area, right next to the beautiful palace. And it's gonna be developed in anytime soon. I really don't know what I was talking about here. Yeah. So about that island over there, I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. And also I see what I know what I'm doing here now. I was trying to show you the highway I did, because we have a connection to is it Sunnyside Heights or something, which is the industrial area. We had a bridge that connected to a tunnel that didn't lead anywhere, but now it does connect to something, and that is the highway on the other side. It goes below the mountain. And I also created some districts and set them up. I usually do that before episodes now. I set the districts in order to do them more efficiently. Like, I know that that's gonna be a well, Pena is gonna be a residential place, but the other one down there would be like an office zone, which we didn't actually use in this episode because the industrial demand dropped a lot, so it wasn't quite necessary. And yeah, I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes and before and after episodes. I typically stay for another hour or two to like fix lanes and use the Traffic Plus Plus mod to really get the game working properly, because the cars in the game sometimes don't really know how to use lanes, especially in roundabouts, and uh, they create massive what you call it in English? Um, Backups? Oh, yeah, I think it's backups. Yeah, I tried to save some work for Pena to do on the episode, but yeah, basically we just put on the parks, and we're gonna put some services. And here I discovered that you cannot connect two parks together, which doesn't make sense because you can connect a park to outside the park, but you cannot connect a park to another park. It's weird. But Pena has its own independence, basically. It has its own clinic, it will have its own police, its own school, or schools, because we'll finally have the European high school too, which is massive. It's gonna be right next to the palace. And is there anything else? It's gonna have their own fire department. Yeah, right there. That's the center of the city or town. I really don't know sometimes the denominations for things in English, but I try to do them as best as I can. But I typically fail. But yeah, residential demand is going strong at the moment. But after the episode, there was a crash in residential. People left the city, we dropped below 32,000, and after that we've unlocked the next stage. It's not that I do it on purpose, because I'm typically here just sitting and fixing lanes and traffic, and suddenly the population booms and now we have a nuclear power plant. Not in this episode, but you will see it in the next episode. And that's not exactly good, because I'd like you to see everything that goes on in the city, but I cannot control it. And yeah, what can I say? It's really hard to think of anything to say when basically all you've said you don't remember, and when time has passed. I recorded this on Friday or Thursday, maybe Thursday, because I try to record things a little bit earlier than I'm supposed to upload them. But then on Friday, when I was editing, it's when I got to the mistake in the recording, and I really didn't have time to comment. And then the weekend came, and the weekend is family time. There's people in the home. There's noise. I could not record. And now it's currently Monday, but this is going on Tuesday. And yeah, I just hope that this sound sticks around and doesn't leave me in the middle. Yeah. This is this town, Pena, is actually very pretty when it's finished, and it's quite a romantic place to be. It has nice, large roads. It's not roads, it's streets, or it's roads. No, you don't say a road. You don't say you live in a road, you live in a street, okay. Yeah, it has a beautiful European buildings, and even though it has some curves, they don't look that ugly. They mostly look good because the facades actually connect a little bit to each other on the inner curves, because on the on the outer curves, when on the inner curves it kind of looks a little bit dodgy, but it works. And oh my god, the commercial demand on this episode was insane. They kept wanting commercial. I didn't know what to give them more. They basically have a bunch of commercial everywhere. And yeah, I plan on expanding that center, on the next episode. But on this episode we are just trying to make Pena a thing, because it was planned since day one, and it wasn't happening anything. On that island over there, the posh island, we zoned a little bit on that day, but maybe I don't know. I thought it happened before after the episode, but I guess it was on the episode, and we're gonna put a nuclear power plant. Oh, that's good. You can actually see where it is. It's right next to the whatchamacallit, sewer treatment plant. Yeah, that's it. It's right next to it, so it's quite convenient for it to get the power, so we never run out of sewage. Yeah, keep trying to talk about the posh island. Between episodes I also zoned there, because I was trying to see if I could raise the land value, because I wanted to be the most expensive place on the city, but I couldn't. I tried to give them everything, even tax raises, and you know, the value of the land is like 49 and in Mill Square, and what, I don't remember, but Mill Square is like the most expensive. It's like 52 per square meter. Yeah, I developed a little bit of the island, but I didn't develop all of it. I didn't cross the other side of the highway, because that's gonna be for us to do on the next episode, probably. I really am not sure, because right now I don't know how to control the time for episodes. I think that I'm going good, but actually I'm not using all of it. I am actually a very slow person. I've learned that because I see other YouTubers playing this game and others, and they're so much faster than I am. But I cannot help it. I like to do things my way, and my way is kind of slow, but for me it looks pretty. I love the way Verka is looking at the moment. It's funny to think of the words in English because I wouldn't say Verka, but in English it's the proper way to say it. But in Portuguese I would say Verka. But no, it's Verka. Oh, also, after this episode, I had major changes in this industrial area because the traffic was getting crazy. And so I've relocated both of the train terminals, and I've created a thingamajig that you will see on the next episode. I cannot show it right now. It's a thingamajig that basically distributes the traffic when they're trying to get into the cargo train terminals, and it works quite fine. Oh, one expansion that you will see on this episode is actually the expansion of Pena, which is gonna be a little bit bigger, and we're gonna make it at the end. We're gonna have the city hall. It's something like that. It's something to have to do with business, and it's not really business, but it's like I don't know what to call it. I know in Portuguese, but in English, I just city hall seems like the proper word. Yeah, I really don't like to have the power going through the rivers and up the mountain, but there's actually no other way, which makes me kind of sad because I would love to not have to see these ugly these ugly power cables. It's not that it's a bad asset made by the game developers, but it's just a thing that you don't like in real life to see. Well, you might like it, but that's up to you. That's mostly personal taste. And a side note, yes, I am still having that cough issue that I was having in the last episode, and it still hasn't abandoned me. Not even today, Monday. I think it has been like a week and a half, almost 2, and I still have a problem in my throat. I just hope it goes off soon. Well, you should see the tram has to go in a steep inclination to get down the hill, but it's quite fun. I would show it on the first person mod, but my computer is not the most powerful, so to use the first person mod I have to have it on low quality settings, and that's not really fun for you to watch because you cannot really get the full experience of the city. You know? It's like it's like, now please do not get offended, but it's like when a person that typically has to use glasses takes off the glasses. They cannot see. Sometimes they cannot see at all. And that's what's happening with the first person mod. You just see a blob. You just see something diffused and you cannot see anything. Well, this episode, well, it was kind of productive, but it was slow as usual. But we did see some progress. Although I am really slow, but here I'm showing you what I was telling you in the beginning. It does look a little bit good, but it's not that good, especially when you see it from outside, because the buildings are made to be put in a grid pattern, like in most cities in Europe. And they are supposed to close on themselves, you see, on the inner part of the city. of this town, it looks perfectly good. You see, everything is orthogonal or rectangular. Everything is perfect. But when you start adding curves, and here I was commenting on something, because this house was really peculiar, because I've never seen it. Something like this. It's a house that is on a 3x4 or 2x4 lot, which is quite bizarre, because I only have seen houses that occupy more of the facade than of the depth of the plot, and not exactly something that occupies a lot of the depth and not a lot of facade. But I'm happy about it because that's something that happens in real life, especially in Lisbon. You get like massive buildings, and on the side of those massive buildings you get like smaller facade, like 2 windows of facade, and the building just goes on forever. Most of the light will come through skylights or just really holes on the building itself, because it has like a cut on the building, and that cut allows for what? Allows for light. You put windows, you make walls of those cuts, and then you put windows on it. I was thinking about Windows, the Microsoft software. You put windows on there, and you get natural light, so it's great. And here I'm sorry, I just messed my English completely again. We are here doing finally the expansion that I promised. It does have to curve a little bit, but it is a necessary expansion because this is a mountaintop, and it wouldn't be nice to just finish there. It's kind of flat on the top of the mountain, so we should occupy the whole thing. And as you can see here, by the sheer amount of cars, I tried to fix it in this episode, but it doesn't quite work well. So that's one of the main reasons I stay for so long, is so that I can fix these issues. Just on this little town, it must have taken me like half an hour, which is basically an episode, so that's why I'm not gonna have everything on episodes, and I'm sorry if you don't like it, but I cannot just waste your time, if you understand what I mean. I cannot be here and doing just lane changing and organizing traffic for 30 minutes. That's really boring. And if I wouldn't like to watch that on the video, that's probably a reason that someone else wouldn't like to watch it on the video. I'm not saying that I'm more important than what other people think, but it's just a general thought of people. It's not really interesting to see it, so why should you? There's more fun things to do, like a whole new district, like we're doing here, or trying to do, because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing, as usual. But I put a roundabout on the end, which I then destroy and rebuild, as you'll see here, because it turned out to be more massive than I anticipated. But the idea is on the roundabout itself. Okay, I clearly have no idea what I'm doing here. Oh, I was measuring, which is a good thing. This mod is a good thing. Oh yeah, I was trying to make it a perfect squarish roundabout, you know, with a perfect amount of units on each side. But that mean that the roundabout would go down and up the mountain and would have to have a bridge, and I was like, hell no. So I made it a smaller one, and it looked better, so I'm not sad about it. And on the other side of the roundabout, it's where the city hall will appear, which I'm not sure if it is an asset. Well, an asset it is, of course, but I don't know if it is an asset from the game or if it is something that I might have downloaded it. But I believe it is something from the game. And I think after the episode I've made like the whole traffic to come here and switch on the roundabout, but I'm not sure. Inside the roundabout will actually be a park, a little nice park, and I will extend the tram line to there, to near the city hall, because basically the tram is okay, what the hell was this humming? The tram is the only way of transportation for these people to go to the city, so they wouldn't like to have to cross the whole city to get their whole town, to get to the tram, to get to the city. Because the current trip actually takes a long time and it's not that fun. Imagine if they work on one of the industry areas. They would have to take the tram to the city, to one of those areas that I don't know the name at the moment, and from there they would have to catch a subway to one of the train stations to get to the industry, and that just takes too much time. You wouldn't like to do it at a daily basis. So props to them that are doing it on a daily basis. Now, other things about the series, I really have no idea. I have no idea when the series will stop, if it will stop. Well, it will probably stop at the moment that my computer crashes. At this current rate, like more 10 episodes or 20, and it will crash, because my computer is becoming laggy. It's slowing down with the game, and yeah. The computer just cannot handle City Skylines. Well, it can handle City Skylines on vanilla. I could have like a massive city on vanilla, but I could not resist the mods, and I have an extensive list of mods and assets, which include but not. Oh, I'm sorry. I try to be fancy, but my words are not. I have a lot of mods, especially with transportation. I have a lot of subways, as you've seen, and I have a lot of train assets. Like a lot. I have train stations, a bunch of them, sunken ones, elevated ones, tram ones, and I have to have the trams as an asset. And then the subways, I have all of the crossings. There's just a bunch of things. Oh, I kind of forgot to comment on what we were actually doing. So yeah, as I was saying, basically Pena has everything. It has a nice plaza of life and death, which I was having a debate on this episode. I remember that because I wasn't getting the word right. I was saying life and death, and then I was like, why are you saying that? Because it's life and dead, life of the dead, and and it wasn't the dead. It's not a monument for the dead. It's a monument of the death with a th. I have a lot of problems with the letters th and the sound that they do. I'm trying to work on it, but I think it's one of those things that I will never fix in my life. It will always be there. The th and the h, the t and h make a th. Like I cannot say thank you. I try to say thank you, but it comes out as using an F. Like thank you. And that's how it sounds. But yeah, what I was saying is they have the Plaza of Life and Death, and they have a cemetery, which is something quite unusual, because it's the only cemetery on the city, because I use crematoriums, which are more effective, and more... where I was gonna say more small, but that's not proper. They are smaller, so they occupy less space, which is perfect for a city center. And yeah, this is when I but when I see that I was having not European buildings because the district was not up to that part. I've only zoned to that other part, so most of the buildings had to be demolished. Now I'll probably take a long time to find a city hall. Oh, I was thinking about the assets. Yeah, I have a lot of assets. I like that asset that I have, which is the recycling centers. Those are great. They act like incinerators, but they recycle, which is good. I like to have recycling centers. I will actually have to put some incinerators in for my own sake, because I like to be kind of realistic. You know, in real life, you don't just recycle, you have incinerators. I'm not gonna put the dumps or the... It's not a graveyard. Graveyard is for the dead. For the dead, not the deaf. Deaf people cannot hear. English words. They confuse me. I think it's a dump, but I don't want to say it's a dump. Oh, it's a landfill. Yeah. I'm just gonna put landfills because I don't like those. They don't look really good and they occupy a lot of space. I'm just gonna use like 1 or 2 incinerators to make you believe like that's what they use. And mainly I want to have the recycling centers. And also to add to the recycling centers, most of my zones are actually have the recycling policy, so it's good. Here, as I was telling you, here's the city hall, and now I was also telling you that like they have all of the flags except for Portugal. They have Germany, they have Italy, they have the UK, they have France, they have Spain, Germany again. No, that was the first one was Belgium. They have Germany, and then they have France again. And I was like, why do you do this to me? Why do you put all of the European powers in some that aren't even in that good of position? Like Spain, they're also having a crisis, not as big as ours, but they are. And then do not put Portugal. And I was like, oh, I have a Portugal flag, I'm gonna put it on a special place. And I did. It's this. The only thing that I'm sad about is that it holds still. It's not a flag that flows like the other ones with the wind. But yeah, it's not actually a park that I was telling you. I actually made a park. So it's a handmade park, which is even better because it was made with heart and soul. But yeah, it's a nice little park right next to the city hall, which has a European influence, of course. This is, after all, a European city. I still want to have international buildings at some point on this Let's Play. I do have some international industry, but I do want to have like skyscrapers and all of that, but on the modern part of the city. We are still working on the old part of the city, which actually makes a little bit of sense when you think about it, because the old parts came before the new part. And here I'm putting the other tram station now, as I was telling you before. There was just that sweet spot. I wanted to have it as close to the city hall as possible, but it wasn't really possible at all, so it had to be there. And only now I took the opportunity to talk about the highway I've made, which is basically an express way to get from one side of the city to another side of the city, because this will eventually be some sort of city. Even though the mountain will not be touched. I only touched the top of the mountain and maybe some of the smoothest slopes, but the rest will remain intact. Because it's like in Lisbon, we have Monsanto, which is basically like a forest, a pine tree forest, and it is quite important. And we do have to preserve green spaces in cities, or at least try to. And the slopes of this mountain will be our green space for the city. And yeah, I just take the tram line and I extend it. I reposition the tram station stop. I am really sorry, but I cannot help it. Coughing is one of those things that you cannot fight off. But yeah, I'm just gonna adjust a little bit of the vehicle. I have currently 2, but I think I will put like 1 or 2 more because the service was not regular enough. And yeah, the episode basically ends here. Like normal, not a lot of progress. And because of the lane changing, the fire department couldn't reach anywhere. That changes after this episode, as I do more things. And yeah, as this episode is wrapping up, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.